Good morning, guys. Shalom, shalom. This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. It is now the last day, the 29th day of the 6th Hebrew month. Tonight, Tuesday night, October 9th, starts the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah. So I will actually, it's a high Sabbath. The regular Sabbath happens every Friday night to Saturday night, happens every week. But high Sabbaths, which are annual, they only happen once a year. They can happen on any day of the week, depending on how the calendar is for that year. So Yom Teruah does start tonight, Tuesday night, going to Wednesday night. So I will be taking the whole day off of work because it is a high Sabbath, and I'll be doing definitely one very long teaching on the prophetic implications of Yom Teruah, what it means, why we celebrate the Feast of Trumpets every year, and then probably some other videos as well because I do have the whole day off of work. It is a high Sabbath, so basically on Wednesday, Tuesday night to Wednesday night, I won't be doing anything about with the pedophiles or pedivores or anything like that, except where it involves the prophetic understanding of how it fits into the scriptures and Bible prophecy. I will be touching on that definitely, and Trump's candidacy and things like that in one of my teachings. So just giving everyone a heads up for that. Again, I'm going to start the video. And just remember, I have begun to send out email updates to the private email list. So if you are 100% committed to going, remember to send me your email address. My email contact is below the video. Just got to search through the links there, and I'll add you to it. But I have started sending out details and things for those who are on the private email list for this event. And then don't forget about the White House petition. When you sign it, you do have to do the verification email or your signature won't be counted. So please remember all about that. Okay, so we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of this. This is a story I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's been hinted at in various other stories that I've done. Aaron brought it up yesterday in the interview, and that is about CPS. And this is from an article. It's actually fairly recent. It was just published here in October, early October of this month. It says, child sex trafficking through child protection services exposed. Kidnapping children for sex. This is horrific. In this buzzsaw interview below, filmmaker Sean Stone interviews Tammy Stefano, the executive director of the National Safe Child Coalition, and exposes much of the corruption happening within child protection services and family courts. This might be one of the few interviews currently available on the internet that gives this much information on the child sex trafficking business that exists in LA County and across the nation. Tammy Stefano reveals some very shocking information about the child and human trafficking business currently operating in the United States, which is a huge illegal business that brings in more money than the illegal drug trade and illegal arms trade combined. Think about that. Tammy Stefano has spent over 2 decades on front lines fighting for child safety. She understands the emotions of being victimized, having survived the kidnapping in her younger years. Determination was the driving force that prompted her to go undercover to catch a pedophile schoolteacher. Child protection services do not protect children. Hundreds of children are murdered in CPS care. Picking up the interview at about the 9-minute mark, and I will post this article right below the video, guys, so you can click on it and do this investigation and look at all the different links as well that are linked to this article. There's a lot of stuff here. Picking up the interview at about the 9-minute mark, Stefano begins to explain that when there is an allegation of child abuse, law enforcement and child protection services, CPS, are the 2 entities that get involved. According to Stefano, the social workers working in child protection services across the country do not have the training to truly investigate child abuse because child abuse is a crime. Stefano encourages the listeners of the program to call law enforcement, not CPS, if they encounter sexual or physical abuse of a child, because this is a crime, and CPS is not trained to handle crimes. Stefano says, quote, the minute you call child protection services, you can rest assured that the investigation will not be done properly. Chances are the child will not be protected. She then gives the example of Los Angeles County, where in 2013, CPS took, quote, thousands of children away from parents, and that 570 children were murdered while in the care of CPS and away from their families. Horrific. Foster children bring in great profits to the state. At another point in the interview, Stefano relates how California benefits financially from having children in foster care. She states that adults who are incarcerated in the penal system on average cost the state about $48,000 per prisoner. For children taken in foster care, however, one child can bring in up to $1 million of revenue to the state. Children who need, quote, extra care are given many medical treatments, such as psychotropic drugs. Stefano gives one example she encountered where a Los Angeles judge sent one mom's son to a behavioral modification camp because he was allegedly labeled defiant. He was given electroshock treatment, and these treatments were billed to the mother at a cost of $7,000 per week. Stefano stated that the mother is still making payments on these treatments, while her son is now 23, and she still has 10 years left on her payment plan. To this day, she does not know where her child was sent for these, quote, medical services. And guys, this is true not just in California. I know in Oregon, they get a huge subsidy money from both the state and federal levels for every child that they take from a family and try to put into a foster care home or take for whatever nefarious reasons they decide. There's no justice. There's no justice because these CPS guys, they don't know the law. They make up their own law, and a lot of times these judges, they'll cower because they see these social workers from CPS and they'll just do whatever they recommend, even though these CPS workers are basically acting like, boot jacketed thugs, like Nazis running around here. Okay, Nazis or commies, take your pick. LA CPS turning foster children over to known sex abuse offenders. When Stone asked her who CPS was turning these children over to with such gruesome statistics, Stefano replied that what she discovered and what the Los Angeles Times was kind enough to publish was that 1,000 convicted sex offenders had been given a green light by CPS to become approved foster parents just in Los Angeles County. What? I mean, this is ridiculous. Allowing confirmed and convicted sex offenders to be foster parents? Unbelievable. CPS putting children into sex trafficking is a huge problem. At around the 25:15 point in the interview, Stone and Stefano began to discuss the child sex trafficking problem. When Stone asked Stefano if she encountered sex trafficking among children, she replies, "We need to cover a lot more." As an example, she mentioned a sex trafficking case with CPS in Orange County, California last year. Stefano says that of 105 sexually abused victims that were found in this case, 65% of those victims were in the foster care system under CPS control, and they were allegedly never reported missing. Stefano says, "What we are finding now is this trafficking is a lot bigger and a lot more involved politically than we care to look at or the media won't cover. Everybody's afraid because there are some really big heavy hitters that are very influential that are involved. Children have been sold, and there have been cases where children have been sold up to 75 times in one day. 75 times in one day, someone has abused this child." The child trafficking industry or human trafficking industry right now makes more money than the illegal drug trade and illegal arms trade combined. So she's repeating that. So children are definitely treated as a commodity. They are a commodity to make money. This is so sick. That this is going on in the United States is it's horrific. Stefano then relates the following story. Last year, I had a case where a lovely young girl, a single mom, her mom was a great Italian woman who lives in Burbank. She was having some problems with her daughter. Her daughter started hanging out with the wrong crowd, a good girl though. She just needed to be pulled back in. So her mom calls a friend at the police department. She says, let's put a little scare. I want to do something. I want to make sure she is okay. He says, call Child Protective Services. Okay, I'll try it. So she called Child Protective Services and they said, we need to take her and help out here. They put this child, gorgeous, she looks like a model, 16 years old, actually 15 at the time, and they put her in this group home. The mom goes to visit her. It was near the holidays. She feels like, all right, she's going to learn her lesson. She'll never mess up again. This is a hardcore lesson. Her daughter's gone. Her daughter and 3 other beautiful young girls. Now you have to be reminded that the gates around this group home locally are high. They are too high and they are locked electronically. You are not getting out and there is a full staff. While this staff says, gee, we were short staffed and we just don't know how this gate got open. Their mother daily for 1 year posted, she came on my show. She did not stop looking for her daughter. Her daughter is home now. She found her through the efforts of a combined community effort, and she is still healing. She was passed on to more people. She was so abused. She was locked up. She was a prisoner. Her and 3 others from state-run foster group home. And how did the gates get open? It was near the holidays, and they just don't have an answer. Child Protective Services in America does not have a duty to report a child missing when the child is a ward of the state. See, these laws protect these wicked CPS officials and not the actual children. Now, if I had been the mom, I would have never done that. You don't punish your child by putting them into a foster home. That's ridiculous, or a foster care home. But boy, my heart breaks that this happened to her daughter. I'm glad that she got her daughter back. She's probably one of the fortunate ones to actually get her daughter back, and yet her daughter was, victimized, abused horrifically. Excuse me. And yet nothing's being done. Nothing's being done. Stefano then talks about an organization called the Humanitarian Alliance and a report they have that found within 48 hours after a child has aged out of the foster care system because they've become 18 and have left their foster homes, 65 to 70% of them are captured into human trafficking syndicates. Stefano believes the only way this can happen is because those inside the foster care system are helping to arrange it to happen for a fee. Listen to the entire shocking interview below. Note that the first 9 minutes discusses a new TV show and the controversial issues of corporal punishment, but at about the 9-minute mark is where they begin to discuss the abuses within CPS. So the video's in this link that in this story that I'm going to link below the video. Just start at the 9-minute mark. The real criminals in child abuse and sex trafficking do not want this information public. Tammy Stefano is the executive director of the National Safe Child Coalition. At one point during the interview, she related how her child advocacy campaigns have resulted in death threats from angry foster parents. She also stated that her website has been hacked and that her phone has been tapped numerous times. As Stefano stated, what we are finding now is this trafficking is a lot bigger and a lot more involved politically than we care to look at, or the media won't cover it. Okay, so I already read that part. So anyway, I'll post this below the video. There's a lot of other videos too that are linked to this, but that main interview is the one I wanted to highlight. I just wanted to read that out to those of you who don't have the time to go read it, and maybe you're listening to it in your car. But huge problem, and very little is being done about it. People often will say, I've had commenters say to me, well, Daniel, why don't they just report this to the local police or to the FBI or whatever? Guys, so many of these levels at a local city, state, and federal level, they are compromised. They're involved in this stuff, or they know what's going on and they turn a blind eye. Even when she recommends don't go to CPS, go to law enforcement instead, even that's problematic, because the law enforcement, depending on which police officer shows up, they can be good. Not all of them are bad, but some of them are Freemasons. Some of them are involved in this child sex trafficking themselves. So that's why this whole thing has got to be totally revamped. Again, Trump is not just dealing with the swamp in DC. There's a swamp all across this nation, even in small town America. And these examples in LA County, I guarantee you, this is just a microcosm of what's going on all over the nation. I know for a fact in Oregon, this exact same stuff happens, especially with how the state and federal government provide subsidies and money. They actually pay people. I knew one CPS social worker, she was paid a huge commission every time she took a child from a family, regardless of the facts. All right, sorry, I get really worked up about this because this is just... Anyway, all right. So guys, if you want to see me do this full-time, to be a full-time citizen investigative journalist, to be able to quit my full-time job so I can devote everything to this, my PayPal link is right below this video. Please click on it. You don't have to have PayPal to send your donations. I also have a link to my Patreon where you can give your monthly support. I just put up Chapter 6 for my suspense thriller, Hollywood Burning, which is about uncovering all the satanic pedophilia in Hollywood. Chapter 6 is now up for anyone to read. And there's also a link to my Amazon author page where you can buy my suspense thrillers. They're ebooks, and you can buy those as well. I do want to become full-time. I want to do this, and I want to preach the gospel across the United States. A lot of people have been criticizing me for putting these links below my video. Look, everything I do is for free. I give everything away for free, and I'm doing this because I have a passion for it. But if people choose to want to send me money so I can do this even more and go full-time, what's the problem, right? So anyway, I won't let those trolls bug me. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love you guys. Thank you. I'm continuing to get more and more emails from people just offering prayers and encouragement, and it's just been really helpful. So thank you. Thank you also for all the kind comments that were below the exclusive interview with Aaron Golub. I really appreciate that. I'm sure he does too. So thank you guys. Continue to keep me in your prayers. I know you do. I feel the shield of your prayers around me, so I deeply appreciate that. And I'm very much looking forward to tonight. Tuesday night to Wednesday night, Feast of Trumpets. I will be doing a full-fledged teaching on that, so I'm looking forward to it. And hallelujah, fighting the good fight. I think it's really cool about this Q thing. And I mean, I don't know if I'm right about the that James Bond movie, Skyfall, but it sure seemed like, whoa, is this something? I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder, is November 9th, 2018, when I'm standing in front of the White House with those who join me, is this just going to be a giant victory celebration? Wouldn't that be amazing? Hallelujah, guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. Shalom, shalom. God bless.